Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Box Score Sports YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm joined by Clint, and in this clip of the podcast, we are going to do the NBA exit interview for my Detroit Pistons, Detroit basketball. We're going to talk about their season. We're going to talk about what we want to see them do this offseason, and then we're going to give some long shot predictions as far as roster movement. Before we get into it, let us know down in the comments down below, what are some of your favorite things about the Pistons season? What do you want to see them do this offseason? Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. So let's get into it, Clint. Offseason grade for the Pistons. They finished 44-38, 6th seed. They lost to the Knicks in the first round in 6 games. Give me your grade for the Pistons.
Has to be a straight A.
Yeah.
Just, I had them on the higher end of, like higher end at the play-in. They got out of it with the 6th seed. And I just think on all fronts, you saw probably what's been hidden behind the curtain of Monty Williams, and just incompetence in general. You saw on all fronts progress. You got some shooting, and the players you put around Cade weren't even that great. Malik Beasley, he's really good at the one thing he's good at. Tobias Harris, again, not really great at anything, but good at several things. Tim Hardaway Jr., same thing. Like, just bringing in those 3 dudes who any other team would be like, yay. No excitement. But because it finally gave you some spacing, it gave you some ability to put in a system. Cade flourished, kind of showed what you were hoping to see. So hopefully he builds off that. But in general, taking the Knicks to 6 probably should have been 7 or a series win.
Yeah.
If some things go their ways or if obvious calls are made. But I don't know how it can be. There was basically nothing besides an injury to Ivy that was disappointing about that season.
Yeah. So is it a little biased that I put A+? Is it? I gave them a plus. I couldn't just go A. And I thought maybe you might too. I didn't have them in the play-in though. I had them just outside. I think I had them finishing 11th in the East. So A+, is that fair, or am I being biased?
No, it's fair.
Okay. It started with firing Monty Williams and moving on from him. Like, let's say that made the grade an A- right off the bat. Hiring JB Bickerstaff, what a win for the Pistons. Sar, his development, you can see it now. He didn't have an off season last year, so now I want to see what he does this off season. Duran, he's only 21, whatever. He's progressed a little bit. Ivy looked to be having a really good season before he injured his leg, unfortunately. He was shooting 40% from 3. If you compare his numbers from last year to this year, what difference a coach makes. I mean, just probably pumped him up, believed in him, and look what he did. So I'm hoping he comes back from that injury, still at the level he was at and continue to get better. Like you said, pretty much the only con of the season. And then Cade has to be a pro too. I think it's clear that he can be a number 1 or number 2 on a team that can compete. So, and that's what you wanted from Cade. You were right. We were talking, I think, last year about the extension, the early extension between him and Wagner, and you kind of didn't know. I think we have it clear. If you surround him with the right people, he does, like you said, he doesn't have another great player around him. He has a lot of good players, average players, and he was able to get to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference and almost beat the Knicks in the playoff series in his first run through. I think that's a win for the Pistons all the way around.
For sure, and he made it to that level. We gotta stay there, but I think he will, like we talked about, between those 3 players that got the extension. None of them I was like, oh yeah, that's great money spent. Cade showed it. Now the rest of this has to be, we got to figure out what we have in Ivy. I think before the Pistons, at least for me, figure out what you have there before you do something too big.
Uh, c- um, Correct. Yes. I do agree with that. Yeah. So that's let's get into that because that's the off season part, right? Like anything else on their season before we move to their off season?
I just especially when you watch those playoff games, one of the things like you see it with the Pacers and you see it with OKC too. The crowds in these cities are really cool when you
Yeah.
finally get back. Like, and as much as I've hated the Pistons for my whole basketball life,
That's why we get
the
along so
Pistons,
well.
yeah, I know the Pistons have an awesome crowd when they're good, and to kind of see that back, which you haven't probably seen in Little Caesars Arena when they moved to downtown, but to get that back, the excitement of when you have teams that have sucked for a long time that then click and you have guys on this team, especially in Cade, that you kind of have seen get better. It's kind of cool to see. So that's like an added plus when you're a fan, even not of the Pistons, to see the crowds come back and the excitement.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And just real quick, Langdon, great hire so far as a GM. He pushed all the right buttons. You talked about Hardaway, Beasley, Tobias, all those players worked out, for them for the most part. And then trading for Schroeder in the middle of the season after the Ivy injury also really worked out for the Pistons as well. So kudos to him as well for fixing this roster after 1 year of like one off season, and the roster looks infinitely better than it did with who was the
Oh, well,
he
sometimes it's
loved
just not.
Troy Weaver.
Yeah,
He just the rosters, the centers. He loved bringing in some centers.
sometimes it's easier than the hard part is going from here to get
Oh,
better.
right. And so let's look at the offseason and see how they could get better. And even like in my opinion, I know this sounds weird, but like even if we take like a proverbial step back from winning triple the amount of games we did last year, let's say we get like a play in next year because the other teams get the East. I wouldn't be disappointed because we took a huge leap. I think it's only natural as the other teams like make moves. If we stand pat, it might be like a step back year, which Pistons fans should kind of brace themselves for. So with the offseason, what would you like to see the Pistons do? Their priorities, real quick. Free agents: Beasley, Hardaway, Schroeder are all free agents for the Pistons. They have 4 tradable first round picks. And then like a little bit of question marks with some of their players, but especially Ivy. How healthy is he going to be coming back? That'll be an interesting thing. But so for you, what would you like to see them do moving forward? What are some of the priorities?
I would like to see them not directly run it back because I don't know if you want to, like Beasley had a great year. I don't know if you want to quote overpay. I don't think he's going to get paid a ton anyhow for what he does because I really think you got to see what Ivy is
Hmm.
before you decide what you're going to do with this team. You said it right, and I would feel the same way from a distance. Is sometimes when you go from what did they go from 14 to 42 wins or whatever, you're like, well, we're going to win 50 next year. And you're like, if you can just stay at 42, that might seem disappointing. But like you said, you're going to have an off season of teams figuring out what the Pistons did. They're going to make some adjustments. Um, it might be a little up and down with Ivy, but I would want to bring back Schroeder.
Hmm.
I mean, if he wants to just go across the
No,
pond to
no,
Milwaukee
no,
for a
no,
minimum,
no,
he can do
no.
that too. Wouldn't complain with that. But I would bring him back. Hardaway, I don't think you need to bring him back. Like I really like Fontecchio. He doesn't seem to get to play much, but
Right.
for some reason I kind of like him. But just bringing back what you have and letting Ron Holland develop more, letting Ivy develop more, and then when you get a decision on that, whether it's a trade deadline or next off season, then you can see what do we have here. Because I would hate to spend 2 or 3 first round picks to make a move unless you are getting the guy that's equal or better to Cade. But I don't even know at that point that gets you over the hump of some of the other teams, East or West.
Yeah, it's just like a patient thing. And it's so hard as fans when you win, like you said, 40, well, it was 44 games. So let's say we drop down to 42. It's like some fans are going to look that as a negative, but it's like, okay, wait a second. Did Ivy come back the same or better? Did Asar start to develop a jump shot? Did Ron Holland get playing time? So I'm with you. I think like I personally, let's stay pat. I personally at the right price. Bring back Shooter and Beasley. Let Hardaway go. Give the rotation minutes to Holland. Let him develop more. Asar develop more. Ivy will be back, so you have Ivy, Schroeder, and Cade kind of taking turns handling the ball. You know Holland and Asar split minutes. It's a perfect thing. They do have 28 million in cap if they don't do anything with those two guys, which means that you can take on some money, which I forgot about that. But for the most part, if they just stand pat, that would be like for me the most exciting to just see. Let like you said, let's see what these guys got for one more year. Because even if you add somebody, let's say they add, um, you know, I don't know, like I don't want to ruin my spoil my long shots here, but let's just say they add like someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. Do you think that makes them a one of the top three teams in the East? It's like, well, probably not because they still need time to develop. So it's just like, why can't we just wait one more year, see what we got with these young guys, give them one more offseason, and even if we might only win 42 to 40 games, we're still on the right track.
I would totally agree. This you guys have more talent, but kind of felt like the first Jason Kidd year where the Bucks, oh, they made the playoffs and everyone is excited. And the next year, you're like, well, the Bucks didn't have the upper minus Giannis that the Pistons have, so it's never a straight line up, and um, they have enough runway and assets, and you already paid Cade, so it's not like you're on the proverbial clock. So what is one more year of just figuring out if Ron Holland is more than just, I don't want to call him a bit player, but more than just like a small minute player. If Ivy can take that to be um, a playmaker to take some of that off of Cade, if his shot can come along, his attacking, because if those develop, now you really have something with those two. And if you know that he can do that and you added Jaron Jackson, now you're actually cooking. Whereas if you do it now and say Ivy doesn't turn out to anything, then you
Mhm.
lost that trade asset and you're kind of stuck with a team that you're like, oh, we're going to be good, but never really contend.
Right, correct. Yep, totally agree. Now, with that being said, anything else on their offseason? Okay. Let's talk about their long shots. Okay. So real quick, we're both in agreement. Stand pat, maybe bring back Schroeder and not Hardaway, but Beasley at the right price. I say if you can't even bring back Beasley, I wouldn't bring Hardaway back though. Just use it the minutes on the young guys. That's what I would do. But anyway, um, but we're gonna pick a long shot regardless. A couple long shots. Who's your long shot for the Pistons?
So my long shot has always been Devin Booker. And I
Hmm.
think I've liked Devin Booker for them because, especially with the Suns' timeline of not wanting to do it this year, of the Pistons' timeline being perfect for trade deadline or next year, if Phoenix falls flat, of here we are, we can make a move for him. Um, you already mentioned Jaron Jackson. That was another one because I don't think he's a center because he is a rebound, but the Pistons have that
Hmm.
set, and he can play center in in a moment of need. But those two are probably my favorite to give the Pistons that little bit of not even just a little bit because I think Cade 6'6" you could play him at a three if you had Booker and Ivy. So I think those are two guys that you could fit into the timeline that would work as the Pistons continue to improve.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I prefer Jaren Jackson Jr. because it's more of a seamless fit because you already have Ivy and Cade who, kind of dominate the ball. So you add Booker in there. Now you got three guys who kind of, although Booker's good off ball, I'm not saying he's not, but like sometimes he just needs the ball and do his thing, right? So I think Jaren Jackson Jr. would also cost less. So that's why I'm more bullish on Jaren Jackson Jr. than I would be on Booker. Um, at times I'm just not a big Booker fan over why he whines too much about it. But I would, if he was a Detroit Piston, I would root for him. He's from Detroit. I think that would all work out. But my long shot is like Jaren Jackson Jr. You got your 4 first-round picks. If you really wanted to make a move this year, I think he would fit really well. He can spread the court. So him and Duren, and then you have Isaiah Stewart. So he would never have to be like a primary rebounder. You would have Isaiah Stewart. You would have Duren, and put him in there defensively. Him and Asar would just be amazing. You got the defense of him protecting the rim versus, Asar on the perimeter. It's just, what are you going to have to get up for him? That would be the question. 3 first-round picks. You probably 3, 4, right? Or Ron Holland would have to be part of it. Fontecchio, but you don't have to match salaries because we can take on some salary. So that's where it comes in. So it just depends. I also wrote down Trey Murphy is another guy I think that would fit on this team. He's like a lesser of the two. Like you would want probably Jackson, Booker, and then it would be Trey Murphy. But he's kind of a wild card where he would fit kind of really nice on this roster. Defense, 3-point shooter. And then, I don't think he would take as much as it would take to get Booker and Jackson. So.
Yeah, and I think the Pistons fall into, if it's short term, they can kind of squeeze their way into some of these 3-team deals that need to get done, even if it's just for a bit play or even if it's just to get another pick or two.
Right.
Because if you have to pay Ivy, I think it's after next year. So if it's short-term money that you can get off of, again, I think if they can build up any extra picks in this time period, is worth it, because if you are going to make that win now move for some of these guys, any extra pick that you can get helps.
Correct. No, that's a good point as well. Okay. Anything else?
I sent it to you this morning. ESPN's ultimate long shot for the Pistons. They should just, as you said, just click accept right away. They get Giannis, and all they got to give up is Harris, Stewart, Ivy, and 3 picks, 3 firsts. So
let's do it. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the shooting around Cade, but you know what? You're getting Giannis, so we'll bring back Beasley.
It's like, hey, that's just a little better than what you have to pay to get Desmond Bain, so why not go for it?
Right. Well, yeah, you see a trade like this, and it's like, well, then Jaren Jackson Jr., what do we got to give up? Like Ron Holland and a first-round pick? Like, is that I'll do that. But yeah, no, that was a crazy one. It's funny because when we first made the notes, the 2 players I had, we didn't even talk about them because I just think like the NBA is forever shifting, right? So like I had Zion as a long shot or Lauri Markkanen. And it's like, well, I'd rather have the other guys for long shots than those 2 now, because now like Trey Murphy is like available at the right price, and Jaren Jackson Jr., we don't know what's going on with Memphis. So yeah. Booker, the Suns. So okay, anything else on the Pistons?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the Pistons season, their off season, long shot. What would you do? Would you do a long shot? Would you go for it this year, or would you want to just kind of stay the course? Let us know in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.